Jesus made the disciples get into a boat and proceed him to the other side of the sea, while he dismissed the crowds. After doing so, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When it was evening, he was there alone. Meanwhile, the boat, already a few miles offshore, was being tossed about by the wave, for the wind was against it. During the fourth watch of the night, he came towards them, walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. "It is a ghost," they say, and they cried out in fear. At once, Jesus spoke to them. "Take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid." Peter said to him in reply, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat and began to walk on the water towards Jesus. But when he saw how strong the wind was, he became frightened, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him, and said to him, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" After they got into the boat, the wind died down. These who were in the boat did him homage, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." After making the crossing, they came to the land at Gennesaret. When the men of that place recognized him, they sent word to all the surrounding country. People brought to him all these who were sick and begged him that they might touch only the tassel of his cloak, and as many as touched it were healed. The Gospel of the Lord. It is a beautiful scene and very human. I mean, it happens often to us when we are in the middle of the storm of life. Whatever it might be, we have doubts. We have doubts about God, about His love, about His existence. We have doubts. And as soon as we have doubts, it happens to us as it did to St. Peter. We sink. Because according to the Gospel, he must have taken a few steps on the water. He did not get out of the boat and sank, which would have been normal. Immediately you sink to the bottom in an instant. He must have walked a few steps, and he says that afterwards he was afraid of the wave, and that is when he started to sink. When we don't understand, the temptation is to turn away from God, reject God. When we suffer, the temptation is to deny God's existence or God's love. And that is when we sink. If you speed up to the sky, that speed falls on your face. If you turn away from God because you have lost your son, is your son going to rise again? Is he going to rise again because you no longer go to Mass? Is he going to rise again because you refuse to pray as a punishment to God because he let your son die? Your child will remain dead, but you will be alone when it comes to facing the terrible death of your child. You are diagnosed with cancer, for example. You get angry with God. Why do you allow it? Why don't you cure me? You ask God. You're turned away from God. Are you going to be cured of cancer because you have stopped going to Mass and praying? Are you going to be cured because of that? On the contrary, you will have no strength, no courage. Your cancer will surely get worse. You will sink, and so will everything else. A few days ago, a man wrote to me and said, "I am out of work, but I am close to God, and I have peace." He could have told me, "I am out of work, I'm very angry with God, I have stopped praying, I have stopped going to Mass." Would they have phoned him to offer him a job because he was angry with God? Surely. They would not have found him either because he is still close to God. But he has the strength not to think, not to spend, for example, what little he has on alcohol, not to transfer his frustration into violence with his family, not to worsen a situation that is already difficult. Therefore, when life hits you, when your boat seems to be sinking, whatever your boat is, that of your body, that of your soul, that of your family, that of your country, that of your church, what you must not do in any way is to lose faith. If you lose it, then is when you sink. If not, with God's help, you will continue to fight. You will trust in Him, and the sea will become calm again. The waves will calm down. And if it is the definitive hour of your death, due to illnesses, for example, then you will meet the God in whom you have believed and trust, who will receive you with open arms in heaven. In difficulties, don't doubt about God. It is the worst thing you can do. Do not turn away from God, for that is a luxury that you cannot afford. Amen.